Are Japan's new COVID laws hurting its citizens? Well, some Japanese citizens argue that the government's new COVID laws are overreaching and violate private rights, while others complain that the government is not doing enough to protect its citizens from the spread, which has led to far more infections. So in this video, I want to share with you what's been going on here in Japan for the last month or so, and you can let me know what you think about it in the comments. Specifically, you can let me know which ones you agree with and which ones you don't. But like always, if you want help support the channel, check out the Japan merch. If you guys want to see what I'm doing on the daily, check out my Instagram account. And if you have any questions about Japan or your Japan travels, check out the Discord community. Alright, let's get started. How we got here. First of all, let me catch you up. Japan declared its second state of emergency in January, including Tokyo and its neighboring prefectures, the same day that Tokyo reported a record 2,447 cases in one day, with a goal to curb the spread of infection. It was later expanded to a total of 11 prefectures including Osaka, Kyoto, and Fukuoka. It was initially expected to end February 7th, but just recently it was extended to March 7th, which means that here in Tokyo, we're still in a state of emergency. So what does a state of emergency mean to residents living here in Tokyo and other related areas? The new law. Basically, the government requested that business hours for restaurants, bars, cafes, karaoke, and such be limited to 8 p.m., with alcohol being served only between 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. Also, any events held were to be limited to half the venue capacity, or max 5,000 people, whichever was less, again finishing no later than 8 p.m. Finally, the government requested that companies have 70% or more of their staff working from home. But in the last couple months being on the ground here in Tokyo, you could see that most restaurants and bars cooperated, while many companies still had more than 70% of their workforce in the office. This is because Japanese law didn't have any means to enforce these restrictions. In other words, all of these restrictions relied on voluntary cooperation by businesses and individuals. Well, that was true until last week. Now, the National Diet passed two bills that allow authorities to place financial penalties during a state of emergency on businesses who refuse local government orders to reduce business hours and on individuals who refuse to be tested or hospitalized. We'll get more into this in just a little bit. Infections rise. Remember that go-to travel program that I mentioned last October, where the Japanese government literally paid people to travel all throughout Japan? Well, that initiative was suspended after a few months this last December, as there was a huge increase in reported cases all throughout Japan. So here's a graph of reported cases in Japan over the last few months. And here's when the go-to travel program was initiated, and then when it was suspended. Makes you kind of wonder. In fact, it confused a lot of people in Japan, since it was the government who encouraged people to travel, and only a few months later suspended the program because of increased infections, which eventually led to the current state of emergency, testing and reporting. And on top of all this, many critics argue that Japan is not testing enough. Currently, it's about 43,000 tests per day, and therefore it's assumed that the total number of reported cases is far lower than the actual number. And speaking of actual numbers, it was recently brought to light that the government's contact tracing app for Android called Cocoa hadn't been sending information to its users when a user came in contact with an infected person since September 28th of last year. Apparently, Android users make up about 30% of the app's downloads. I guess that's maybe 1 point for Apple users? Before I continue on, I wanted to give a quick shout out to our sponsor today, Bokusu. If you don't already know, Bokusu provide a gourmet experience of Japanese snacks delivered to your front door. They work with traditional Japanese factories, some over 100 years old, to provide you with unique snacks. And each monthly box has its own unique theme, so you get new snacks each and every time. First time users will get a Seasons of Japan box, and after that, you'll get a theme box like this one. Right when you open up the box, you get this nice booklet that takes you through each snack as well as extra information about Japan. You get 10 to 25 snacks in your box depending on the package you choose, and they're all handpicked from all over Japan to deliver you unique and local Japanese flavors. So get your own authentic Japanese snack box from Bokusu and save up to $47 by using my code Paolo10 and link in the description. That all said, let's continue on. Foreigners entering Japan. On a different note, Japan has suspended entry of all non-resident foreigners into Japan. So for now, if you are planning on coming to Japan, the earliest maybe would be on March 7th if the restrictions are lifted. But even then, with the situations ever changing, I wouldn't book my ticket just yet. As for foreign residents entering the country, they will be required to sign a pledge upon entry stating that they will stay in a 14-day quarantine after arrival. And Any foreigners who breach the 14-day self-isolation period will get their residence status revoked and may be deported. They've even considered naming the violators to the public. This is apparently in response to a man violating his 14-day quarantine after returning from Britain just to eat out with multiple people, which led to the spread of a new strain of the virus here in Japan. The details. Under the new law, the authorities can officially demand anyone entering the country to quarantine for 14 days, and anyone who refuses will be forced to go to a special quarantine facility. Oh, and during the state of emergency or even stage 3 alert, businesses refusing to shorten their business hours or refusing to shut down for a set period of time face a 300,000 yen fine, about $2,800. And under the new infectious disease law, infected persons refusing hospitalization can be fined up to 500,000 yen, about $4,700. And refusing to work with the government to trace an infection will land the violator a $2,800 fine. Financial aid. It's not all punitive. The government has introduced financial aid policies to help support all the new restrictions. Households who have a decreased income as a result of COVID-19 can receive an interest-free loan of 200,000 yen, about $1,900. And for households with 2 or more people who have become unemployed can receive an interest-free loan of about $1,900 per month for up to 3 months, while individuals can receive about $1,400 per month for 3 months. In terms of housing, if you've either lost your job or have a reduced income, the government will grant you 3 months of rent and up to 12 months if conditions are met. At least these funds don't need to be paid back. And for businesses who maintained employment despite a drop in sales, the government will subsidize employment allowances up to 15,000 yen, about $142 per employee per day. Finally, for the restaurants and bars who have complied and shut down by 8 p.m., the government provides a flat subsidy of about $570 a day. I don't know though, what do you think of that subsidy? Do you think it's enough? Vaccinations. That all said, Japan's goal, like many other countries, is to vaccinate its residents. Starting from mid-February, 10,000 medical workers are scheduled to be vaccinated. By mid-March, 3 million workers. And then in early April, regular residents over the age of 65 will start receiving the vaccination. After that, there'll be a wider rollout giving priority to people with underlying health conditions. It's crazy to think though that countries like the UK have already vaccinated 10+ million people. As far as the Tokyo Olympics are concerned, it's still officially scheduled for this summer as the Japanese government and the IOC are pushing hard for it to happen. Personally, I'm a bit skeptical given the logistics of flying everyone from around the world to Tokyo safely. It kind of sounds like a Mitsu situation to me, but only time will tell. Interestingly, the IOC have stated that when the Tokyo Olympics are held in 2021, it will still be called the 2020 Games. I'm sure a lot of printing companies are devastated by the news. Well, that's it for now. If you guys agree or disagree with Japanese laws, policies, let me know in the comments. If you guys like this video, help me out and hit that like button. If you guys want to see more of this type of content or anything related to Japan, hit that subscribe button and the bell button, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.